The Minnesota Wild Podcast is presented exclusively by Acrisure.
How do you view this season from a team perspective? You look at where you guys went and passed the first round the first time in a while, but in Colorado, like how was your Wild feel on the season and how it ended?
No, the season was it was good in a way. The first goal was just get into the playoff. We did that. We're tough start. We got going there and we got a good stretch, and it felt like we didn't look back after that. We almost just looked forward, trying to catch up to Colorado there in the standings. And regular season was good. It was great. And then playoff comes. It's always a lot of talk about that first round and all that stuff. We came out swinging and it didn't really feel like worrying there in the Dallas series. It felt like we had the step on them this year, and getting through that first round, I think everyone, it's a little relief. It's a lot of talking and trying not to listen to it, and you got past it and get there to Colorado. And we know how good they are, and we knew it would take our best to give him a really good chance. And small margins in when you play against the top teams, and abrupt end, I guess.
And how about individually? I mean, obviously you had a really good regular season, tough last couple weeks that caused you to not start the playoffs. I mean, in hindsight now, how did you handle that? And is there a bad taste in your mouth now going into the offseason on just the way that you were sort of, benched for the majority of the playoffs?
Well, no, as you said, regular season was good. Got a lot of playing time and felt like me personally, as the team had a rougher start there, and then got going there, and after the Olympics, it's kind of got some bad kicks. And it wasn't that I wouldn't say the game itself was bad for me, like technical wise or anything like that. I had to change. It's more like just a bad rhythm. And, you get a few bounces, and then you get a few more bad bounces, and it just took too long for me to catch up with that and get back into being super comfortable back there, show that calmness and give that team that super confidence in me as a goalie back there. And, Heinze as a head coach probably saw that, and Wally played very good this year, and played very good coming into the playoff too. And why would you switch then if the team is playing good with that goalie at the back end there? And it's tough. You try and stay positive in that, because you kind of, you're in with this group for so long, for the whole year, and you love those guys, and all you want to do is just win and have fun with them, and sometimes you just have to be on the side and just enjoy watching hockey and just be so happy for the other guys on the team.
What are your expectations then, I guess, for what your role will look like coming into next season then?
I don't think much has changed. Me and Wally's huge competitors, and we're fighting for the same spot, and that was the same as this year. We came out and fighting in practice, fighting for the ice time, and that's what we're going to do next year to help this team moving forward with a good goalie squad. Can
that work, that dynamic, Philip? Like, so often we think of starter backup in the NHL, but more and more teams are relying more on two. Do you like that situation? Can it work long term?
Well, I think it's a fine line there. They're going to add 2 more games next year. This year was a little extreme with the Olympics. We tighter schedule, a lot more back-to-backs, and you had to have 2 goalies to be up there. You can't have a goalie just play every game back-to-back the whole time, and do that. So in this area, you kind of need two goalies to be up there and fight. And you see Colorado is doing that same way, and a few other teams. So it can be good too. You can have a great game, and then you just, instead of being up in these clouds, you can just relax, get 1-2 days, and then you get back to work again.
You're obviously in control of your situation with your contract, Filip. If they approach you or if trade talk happens, how will you handle that situation?
Well, it's like, when I think we had this question when before, when you're about to sign new contracts too, if trade talks happen, it's another team that really wants you. And, it's the same way when if you're playing good somewhere, another team wants you and they're very happy to get you. I don't know. That's just how I look at it. If I play good enough wherever I am, someone's going to want to have me as a goalie, and that's how you have to look at it.
How's your relationship with Wallstedt evolved over the year, and what was it like to watch him kind of have some success there in the playoffs?
No, it's been fun. He's grown a lot since you first saw him in Sweden coming up there as a junior, and hanging with him outside the rink too. He's grown a lot as a person. It's been fun to be around him, and as I said, he's a huge competitor there out on the ice, and I really have to fight for my ice there out there, practice and game wise. So it's a good duo.
Looking back, how much of a challenge was it to step in game two? Hadn't played in a while. I know you were practicing and working hard, but for a goalie, how much of a challenge was that? Kind of looking back.
No, well, I thought mentally it probably was one of my better games coming into. Sometimes you're more stressed or nervous going into a game, and that game it felt like I controlled my emotions very good. Maybe I didn't have the best game ever. I didn't have my worst game ever, but I thought I handled it in a good way. Didn't want to have a better result. Yeah, sometimes it happens. Sometimes you don't win all of them.
Some of the guys mentioned after the first round, first time in 10 years, there was a little bit of a relief or whatever. Do you feel like that kind of had a lingering effect going to the second round? It was such a quick turnaround, and it's such an emotional thing. It's hard to kind of get back into that, I guess, the next series.
No, I don't think so. Since it was such a quick turnaround, it was probably easier to just get straight back into it. We just changed our flight plans and went to Denver instead of Dallas, and it felt like we had good momentum, and as I said, Colorado is a very good team, and they got the better of us this time.
All good. Thanks. Thank you.
Yep.
The best place to go for all your Minnesota Wild audio needs is the official Minnesota Wild podcast presented by Acrisure. Everything Minnesota Wild related, including highlights, press conferences, players, coaches, general managers, and more. It's available on the official Minnesota Wild podcast presented by Acrisure. It's all just a click away at wild.com/podcast.